Hello, my name is Mackenzie, and this is the Cattywamples and Coffee Knitting, Crafting, and Designing podcast. Just a forewarning, sorry if I'm not looking at you guys. My camera battery is dead, but I really wanted to get this filmed and posted just to kind of light a fire under my butt. And so I'm on my iPad's camera, and it's just a little bit weird to stare at the camera. So sorry for that. But my name is Mackenzie. I'm an Alaskan knitter. I did a little bit of crochet and some quilting. And yeah, I've started trying to design it as well. So this is my podcast, episode 1. And we're kind of just doing that's my dog. If you hear barking, it is this lovely lady whose nose you can just see. Okay. So this is episode 1, and I'm kind of just doing a July wrap up with this episode. So let's get into it, starting with finished objects. So the first finished object I have are the Hydra Mittens. I've just forgotten who the designer is. They are these knits there. I wanted something that was fun and a little bit of a cable stitch. So you've got kind of cabling up the sides. And then this is actually the braid is created by dropping 2 stitches. Once you get up to here, you drop 2 stitches down and then pick them up together. So you get this thicker kind of braided effect, it's a really fun little process to do. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think it creates a really pretty column up the sides of the mitten. I made mine a little bit shorter, and I'll link all designers and things in the doobly-doo. So I made mine a little bit shorter because I don't like having my fingertips completely covered, even when I have these unfolded. So I made mine a little bit shorter than the pattern. Otherwise, in pattern size. And I'm sorry, 1 second. The dog needs to go out. Okay, sorry about that. Dog had to go outside. So the yarn is really nice. It's like she knows when I'm trying to do things. All night when I'm in class, she's the same way. So the yarn is color Sandshore by Nerd String, and that's probably backwards for you guys. Sorry about that. Nerd String. Again, I'll put links to everything in the doobly-doo. I got it from a yarn store in Denver when I was there last fall. But it's this really pretty kind of taupe. Let's see if you can kind of see hiding behind it. Just some super subtle speckling. That's right. Yeah, so it's a really pretty neutral with just like a little fun pop of color. And I've got both of them finished. So I'm excited. I'm excited for fall. I'm excited to wear those. So that's first finished object. Second finished object is the Midsummer Tea by Boylan Knitworks. And this I made to be quite oversized for myself, and it's just, sorry if this is a little bit choppy. The dog is consistently making noise in the background, and I know that this camera picks up, the iPad camera picks up noise from everywhere, from everything. So if it's a little bit choppy in editing, I'm sorry, but that's what's happening. She's drinking water, barking at people, causing general chaos. So this tea it's Midsummer Tea by Boylan Knitworks, and it's just a simple kind of bulky weight. I held lost my list. I held Lion brand yarn. I think it's their 24/7 DK cotton, 24/7 cotton DK, whatever it is. I held that double in the colorway Dragonfly. And it's very simple. I made mine a little bit longer than she did because I tend to wear these over, things like this over long sleeve shirts and pants in the winter. And so I don't really wear cropped things too much because I'm not wearing them over skirts or dresses, and I don't have a lot of high-waisted pants. So I made mine a little bit longer in the body, but I'm very excited to wear this winter. I work in a library, and so I like having kind of fun, comfy clothing. I work with our kids programs, and so it was a really quick knit. I had it done. I wasn't working. Yeah, so it was a really quick knit. I had it done. Oh, I wasn't working on it exclusively, and I wasn't, sometimes bulky knits, depending on the needles and just the weight of the object. I don't work on them very quickly, even though they knit up quickly. So it was probably, it took me less than a week. I know that Caitlin, the designer, said she had some of hers finished in less than 3 days. So it's a super quick knit. It's a really nice version, and then she's updated. I'm kind of in between sizes. I went for the larger size. I might do another one, smaller size, I'm not sure. But she has updated the pattern. So it used to just be, I went with the sleeveless, so you just pick up and you just do some rib. There was also a short t-shirt sleeve version. She has since updated it to include a long sleeve version and a v-neck version. So it's a versatile pattern. If you like kind of a comfy, chill, bulky weight item, it's a pretty quick knit. It is bottom up. It's knit in the round. There's a split hem here. So you knit one of the ribs, then you knit the other, and then you join them together. You knit the body in the round to the sleeves, split for sleeves, and do the shaping for the front and back. And then 3 needle bind off, which I know is not everyone's favorite, but I really enjoy it. I think it's a fun one. And then pick up for the neckline, pick up for the sleeves. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty fun knit. I'm excited to wear it. Let's see. Next is a crochet finished object. I have completely forgotten the name of this. If I can figure out how to put it on the screen, I will do that. If I can't, and regardless, no matter what, it'll be in the doobly-doo. If I can't figure out how to put labels on the screen. Technology and I are sometimes at odds. So, and this is my first learning curve. So this is a cup cozy. It's crochet, and I added to it this handle. This is not part of the original pattern. I was kind of just picking up stitches, crocheting across, picking up, and like looping it in, and then crocheting and just kind of doing it like that. This is a gift for a friend who hopefully will not watch this before she gets this. If she does, she knows I'm making it for her. So sorry. I had to yawn and took that moment to get a quick drink of tea. I know that not everyone likes drinking noises, so I'm gonna try to edit those out. So yeah, so super simple cup cozy. I added the handle because one of my best friends has a chronic illness that the joints in her hands have some issues, and so her hands will just randomly relax and she'll drop whatever she's holding. It doesn't happen super often, but it happens often enough that it's kind of a pain. And so I wanted to make something for her so that she can have her drinks, and then if her hands relax, she's not going to drop it. So this is the first kind of tester one. We're going to see if she likes it, what she likes about it, what she doesn't, and then I'll be able to make more from there. This is leftovers of that Dragonfly color yarn that I made for the Midsummer Tea. And the contrast is a DK yarn as well. I don't remember what it was. I'll look it up, and if I can find the bobbin. It was gifted to me by a fellow knitter in the community who knows, in the community I work with. I'm a part-time library assistant. So there's a gal who she knows that I knit and crochet, And so she will sometimes bring yarn to the library for me. And this is something that was donated by her. So if I can find the ball band, I will put the yarn up on the screen and in the doobly-doo. Am I aging myself with the doobly-doo? Am I telling you exactly what era of the internet I'm from? I watched the Nerd Fighters when they started, that kind of thing. Then another crochet project. This one is it's very floppy. I picked, I think, probably the wrong yarn for the bottom. It's just a super simple cotton. I think it's Barocco cream. This is leftovers from a cardigan I made ages ago. And then again, that Dragonfly and the unidentified multicolor gift yarn. So this is for my dog's harness and her leash and little poop bags and everything. I have it on we have on our counter, part of the leaf extends, and we have some sets of shelves underneath of that, and there's just kind of an empty dead space in between the tops of those shelves and the bottom of the counter. So that's where her walking stuff goes, and I just thought it'd be nicer to look at something a little bit prettier than just them hanging loose, and then I'm not worried about it falling off or the cats realizing there's something kind of stringy there and grabbing onto it. I'm fairly new to crochet. I don't crochet very tightly, so it is fairly soft and wobbly. So I'm probably going to get I think I'm thinking of getting a wooden board and putting it on the bottom and having dowels kind of come up so I can punch the dowels through. So kind of like if you've seen crochet blocking mats where they have like the little rods and you can kind of stretch and block. I'm thinking of something similar, but it intentionally made so that this just lives on that. That's the current plan. There is no pattern. I crocheted a square and then I just crocheted in the round up the sides until it was tall enough that it'll fit under that, but it'll also keep everything in, and it's working right now. It's just when I pull it out, it kind of all falls. So yeah, I'll update as I get that board stuff figured out. I'm sure I'll show you guys it again when that happens. Let me see. I have a list so I don't forget things because I get distracted. There's a couple of things I don't have. So I wrote. Blah, 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 blah. I do not have everything that I finished this month because a couple of things are already with the people that they are made for. Again, if I can figure out how to edit in a photo, I will. I made a tiny little flamingo knit amigurumi kind of thing for a friend of mine. She helps out a lot with watching the dog. She's helped me out in a couple binds when I had to leave state suddenly, and my brother works 10-hour days, so I couldn't just leave the dog. But my dog is only about a year old, so I couldn't just leave her. We couldn't just leave her home all the time. So this friend helped out, and she would take her during the day when Augustus was working. So I made her a couple things. I love knitting things for people, and so she requested a tiny flamingo. I knit her husband a tiny frog, and it sits on the dash of his truck. And so she wanted a tiny flamingo that can sit on the dash with his frog. So I finished that, finally got that done. It's super cute, so I'm hoping I can get the picture up. And then I also finished a couple of small, just super small kind of cat crochet blankets. Again, hopefully technology hasn't defeated me. If it has, then I just look a little bit silly. I just keep staring. Sorry again if I'm staring at the corner. It feels very weird to be staring at the side of the iPad. So yeah, next time I'll have my camera battery charged and it'll be less distracting. Anyways, my parents' cats really like super bulky. I have a super bulky crochet blanket I made myself, and it's a pretty small. It's a small like lap blanket, but they love it. And my parents moved into our nearest city for work stuff, for a few months, and so the cats went with them, obviously. So I wanted them, I wasn't giving them my blankets, so I made them small blankets that they can have for them specifically with some leftover yarn I had. And then I have a Musselburgh, I think that's how you say it, finished Musselburgh beanie. It's two-toned because I ran out of the blue yarn, and I had this beautiful, I think it's, this yarn is Malabrigo DK, and it's Sunset, I think is the colorway. And I kind of like it because if I fold this up, let's see, I can fold it up high enough that I get that fun little two-tone moment. So I was really happy that, because it almost didn't run out soon enough, so that would have been. But the blue is Treehouse Knits. I think I'm remembering that correctly. It's Treehouse Knits, and it's from her Ever After collection, which is one of my mom's favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite movies growing up. We watched it all the time. I think the version of Cinderella, Rodgers and Hammerstein with Brandy, is the best Cinderella musical version of anything ever. And then Ever After, I think, is they're on the same level. They're on the same level. They're equally the best. Cinderella's Ever After is non-musical. Brandy's Rodgers and Hammerstein is the musical. So this colorway is called It Looks Like Rain, which is a quote that Da Vinci says to Danielle, who's our Cinderella character, if you've not seen the movie. Yes, it has Da Vinci. It's a quote that he says to her when she's swimming in the lake, and he has these like boat shoe things. So he's walking on top of the water and looks down and says, "Looks like rain." She screams, he falls in the water. It's a great scene. It's very cute. It's one of my favorite lines. My family and I quote it at each other all the time. So when I saw the shade of blue she had, I was like, I need a hat out of that. So I made it a little bit bigger than you might do. I went with the adult medium. And for the gauge, I did one extra increase round. So instead of having, I think it was supposed to be 24 stitches per section, I had 26, because I get migraines, and too much pressure on my head causes that kind of pain. So I wanted to make sure that it was going to be loose and comfortable. I still need to block it, so I think it'll probably relax a little bit more, hopefully not too much, but it's all superwash yarn, so if I need to, I can chuck it in the dryer really quick for just a little bit, and it should tighten it up. But you can tell that I grew up very much in an emo subgroup, but I think I'm saying but a lot. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I love how it fits. This is one of my favorite hat patterns. Good, lovely hat hair for you there. You have to like stockinette. You have to at least enjoy, or like if you're looking for an airplane project or something simple to watch while watching movies. I knit on these a lot when I don't take my knitting with me often in day-to-day life. I work with a teen program through my job, and when we're doing travel days for that in the summer, I'll bring a Musselburgh hat with me, and I'll knit on that on the bus. And I knit on these during class time, so I can keep my hands busy, because if my hands aren't busy, then I start drifting and not listening to the class, because my brain's like, it's Zoom. It's not really school. I don't need to focus. It's just a video in the background, and that's a problem when you're paying for an education. So yeah. So I've knit several of these. I don't think I have any of them actually posted on my Instagram grid. This one, I'll have to post this one. But like I've made two for myself. This is my third. My first DK one, and I really like that weight. So I'm excited for that, to make another one of these. I made one for my mom. I made one for a friend. So yeah, if you like stockinette, you're looking for mindless projects, I really recommend these. I think they're some of the most comfortable hats I've had, and like you can wear them like a beanie. They're really easy to fold up. If you like folded brim hats, they're super warm because they're double layered, and you just knit the whole tube and then you just fold it in. It's super simple. I'm sure everyone has probably seen one of these on their grid. They're fairly popular, and I think it's because they are so comfortable. And if you're looking for a mindless project, these are perfect. And I feel like I always hit this point where I'm like, oh my god, it's taking forever. And then I just sit down and knit for a while, and all of a sudden it's done. I'm like, this is gonna take forever. I'm never gonna get it finished. And sure enough, that's the time that I pretty much finish it. I finished it while watching Blade with my brother, of all things. So yeah, my next final finished object. I'm not going to show it in its entirety because this is currently a test knit. This is the Seawall cardigan by Winter's Weather Knits. I was part of the testing group, and the test is still ongoing. It is set to finish the first week of September, so the pattern will be released shortly then. I'm sure you'll hear about it from me in between now and then, and before it becomes available. I'm trying to find where my sleeves are. So it's a really cool knit. She uses, let's see if I can find them, porthole increases. I've tested it for her before. I did her Bohemian Scrapsody. So if you've knit that, you know how the increases are worked. And I like them. I like that kind of eyelet detail it gives. I knit this in 2 weeks. I knit this in about 13 days. And that was with, I started and had to frog it because I was looking at it. I was doing a marled version. So it's the pattern says super bulky because she uses a blown yarn. If you're not using a blown yarn, it's more of a bulky weight. And I wanted to try to do it. My challenge to myself was kind of to accomplish it without buying any yarn. I did have to buy one skein for the button band because I decided I wanted the button band to be a solid color. So it kind of provides a point of contrast to the marling. So my goal was to do it without buying any yarn. I now want to make one with a blown yarn though because it's so comfortable. I'm in between sizes. So technically the large is 2 inches too small for her suggested ease, which is about 12 to 14 inches. And the extra large is about 2 inches too big. So I tested the extra large. I finished this in about 13 days. Oh yes. So I had to frog. I started, since I was just marling yarn, I was able to start like the moment she sent the pattern out. So I started the Sunday night before the official test officially began. And had to rip it out because I was looking at the colors and I'm like, man, this looks familiar. Like, what does this look like? What does this look like as I'm knitting? And I paused and I had about like this much of the neck done of the yoke. And I was like, it's camo. I picked 3 colors that were camo. And there's nothing wrong with camo. If you like those color combinations, that's totally fine. That's not the vibe I was going for. I feel like if you're gonna knit camo in a cardigan, it needs to be intentional. And it probably should be the whole thing. That was not gonna happen here, so I had to completely rip that out. So the next day I cast back on. I got to where there's a couple different sets of how you do the increases, so it changes with where you're supposed to be increasing for things. And it's a 6 pattern, it's a 6 row repeat. I had printed it off from Google Docs, and for some reason, it changed the formatting when I printed it. Like, severely changed the formatting. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened. So, the second part of, so it got rid of any and all bullet points, and it created extra space between each of the rows. So what was originally a very tight together repeat, because you have row 1 and row 2, and then row 3, and so maybe it was a 4 row repeat. That's what it was. So it was a 4 row repeat, not a 6 row repeat. for my size. That's why I'm remembering. There's a discussion about this in the group chat. So for some sizes, it's a 6-row repeat. For my size, it was a 4-row repeat. So it's got rows 1 and 2, and then you have, starting in this section, you have rows 3 and 4, and then you repeat rows 1 and 2, 2 times, like 1 time, depending on what your size is. So how it spaced it, it put that line on a different page, and without the bullet points, it looked like I was supposed to repeat rows 2 and 4, however many times, X number of times, and then repeat rows 1 and 2 once at the end. So I count my stitches, and I was so off. So I was looking at that, trying to figure it out, and I finally opened the Google Doc back up again, because I write on my pattern. So with test knits that are run through Google Docs, I just always print it. So I opened the Google Doc back up again, and that's when I realized that the printing had messed up the formatting, and it was really confusing because that section's not near the bottom of the page. So it just threw the formatting totally out of whack when I printed it. So I had to rip back up to the start of that section, and then everything went smoothly after that point. So by about day 3, I was smoothly moving forward. Everything was good, and it took me about another 10 days to get this finished. I think it's a combination of it being a bulkier weight, so it is a quick knit, but also I was just so excited the whole time to get to the next marled section. Like, I was just so excited to pick what yarns I was going to do next and to see how they would go and how was this going to blend. I had a couple times where I had to kind of tink back because I got a couple rows in and where I got like part of a row in, and you're just kind of like, no, it's not going to work how I want it to. So I had to tink back or like rip out a couple of rows. And yeah, so it's so pretty. Mine is mostly superwash wool, so it did stretch a little bit more in blocking than I intended, but these portions on the sleeves have non-superwash wool in them because I am a yarn mixing gremlin. I hand wash everything, so I rarely dry things, so I kind of just chuck yarn in together. I know that is not how some people function, and that's totally okay. But I know that I'm always gonna wash things like they're non-superwash because that's just my own stress level. That's what I feel comfortable with, and I know I'm not gonna mess up my knit. So I mix, so this green is non-superwash, and this purple, and this is that same green. So yeah, so I can't put it in the dryer, but I don't really mind it. It only stretched maybe like 2, maybe 3 inches across this entire, like it was already the middle of my thigh. So it only stretched about 3 inches, which I think over, that size of a cardigan, it's not bad. So just know it is big, it's heavy. If you're using superwash, only use superwash. If you want to be able to put it in the dryer or just accept the stretch. So yeah, so I will have to take finished object photos of that, and I will be posting those when it is available, and I'll be talking about it. I'm sure I'll wear it in the podcast that I do close to the release. Yeah. I love it. It's very cozy, and it's, like I said, I live in Alaska, so we have had days cold enough that this is what I have been wearing around the house. It's been nice. I'm already obsessed with it. But set it on the ground. I have limited space. Okay. So then I'm going to talk really quick about a design I'm doing that I need to block these. I designed my own sock pattern, so it's technically a finished object. It's been a finished object for a little bit, but in Alaska, if you're conducting any kind of business, you have to have a business license, and I just have been reluctant to do that. So I did it. I filled out my paperwork. I got my business license. I paid the fee. I can now officially sell items. So I'm gonna finish writing up the pattern for this and get it into testing, hopefully before the end of August, hopefully within the next week or so. So we'll see. But it's a cuff down, pretty simple sock. It's got this fun detailing. I'm calling them the Crown Shy socks. It's based on the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. The books are A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy. And crown shyness is in certain types of trees. If you look up at the treetops, the crown of them, they won't touch. And so you can see lines in between them, and that's called crown shyness. And that immediately, when I was reading it, made me think of cables. So I wanted something cabling, but with a sock, I didn't want to do super complex cabling. And I kind of love this twisted stitch tree pattern. So the pillars at the sides, those are twisted stitches. The entire of the tree is twisted stitches. So there's no cabling needles needed. It's super simple. I will have it written out and charted, so you can do whichever you prefer. It's got a twisted rib at the top, just a standard slip stitch heel and gusset, and round toe. I think that's a round toe. It's not a wedge toe. Yeah, I think that's a round toe. So yeah, so I will get that going. I went with a Cascade Heritage yarn. Let's see if I have it's knit on size 1mm needles. And I did Cascade Heritage, which I love as a commercial brand sock yarn. I think it's really soft, and I think that they do some really beautiful solid colors, and it's not super expensive. It's one of those that, depending on where you're buying it, it's somewhere between $12 or $14, I think, a skein. So I think it's pretty affordable. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's color 5638. I'll put whatever that actually is when I look it up in the thing. I really hope I can figure out how to put things on the screen. Otherwise, it's all going to be in the description, and we'll go on the Mackenzie Learns to Edit journey together. We're in it together. So yeah, so that's my first knit design. I'm very excited about it. They're pretty comfortable socks, I think, you know. But I also like heel flap and gusset and round toes, so I might be slightly biased. Current whips as the next section. So these are the Athenaeum socks by Kelly Menzies, Roro and Cades on Instagram. I love Kelly. She is fantastic, absolutely brilliant designer, and just a wonderful person. So you should check it out on Instagram and YouTube. But she designed these, and they're called Athenaeum because it's a word for libraries, and they kind of look like books on shelves. So, you know, as someone who works in a library, I had to have a pair. The color, the yarn, is Big Little Yarn Co.'s Trusty Sock Base in her Satsumaimo, I think is how it said, pie set. So I bought this on the first time she did it for Pie Day, I think 2 years ago. No, 2023 would have been 2023, I think, was when I bought this. But yeah, so Satsumaimo pie it's a type of pie that's made with purple yams. So you can see, if you've not seen purple yams, she nailed the colors. She just absolutely, Mel is fantastic. She's one of my favorite dyers. I have several sock sets of hers, so I need to get using. She is a dyer in Japan, and she also does the Cozy podcast on YouTube. So check her out, give her a follow. I love purple yams, and so when I saw her set, I was like, well, that I have to have, and I've just kind of been waiting for the right sock. So I've got this. This is one of my Make 9 patterns for this year, so I'm really excited. Actually, all of my whips that I'm focusing on this month are on my Make 9. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. They're so comfortable. They're nice and stretchy, and if you're not a fan of rib knitting, I'm not. I would say give it a try. Like, still give it a try, because you have your rib knit, and then you have 2 rows of stockinette, 2 rows of purling, 2 rows of stockinette. I guess purling is technically reverse stockinette, but whatever. So it breaks it up, and it triggers that, like, oh, I just need to work to the next section part of my brain that, like, really enjoys kind of like ticking off sections. And then it makes it really easy when you finished it. Like, I know I need to do 8 full repeats and then 1 just ribbing repeat. So, like, I'm going to just bust through the second sock. I already have it cast on. Here's the yarn schemed, and then there's the cast on. I cast it on last night when I finished this sock, because if you knit socks and you don't do them toe up, 2 at a time. I have a couple friends who do that precisely to avoid either it's because it's the way that they prefer knitting, or to avoid second sock syndrome. I cast on immediately and get a few rows in because for some reason casting on is just that's the mental block. If it's cast on, I will come back to the second sock really quickly because I've already started it. I might as well finish it. But if I don't cast it on immediately, it can take a couple weeks to, I think the longest between 2 socks I have is a year. I've only been knitting socks for about 2 years. So yeah, so cast on immediately. Stitch marker is Hello Lavender. Reshma, again, amazing. Everyone is just so talented, and I just love it. So Reshma with Hello Lavender, it was from her Aurora Borealis collection. I don't do a lot of like really big stitch markers, so I already have more of those than I probably need. So I didn't get her like big Northern Lights looking stitch marker, but when she had accent marker sets where it was like you get 5 of these pretty stars and they each have a different kind of iridescence to them. I was like, there we go. That is, I use these so much. I like slightly smaller stitch markers. So, and then there's the mini of the yarn. So yeah, sorry if I'm super rambly. I'm a chatty Cathy and a waffler. It's been lifelong. It's been forever. So hopefully you don't mind that, because it's what's gonna happen. I can't stop it. And more importantly, I gave up trying a long time ago. So we're just leaning in. We're leaning in to the chatty waffling. Celebration of self. Moving some things for the dog. So, second focus whip for the month is also a Kelly pattern. What can I say? She's brilliant, and I'm not just saying that because she's one of my friends. Stitch marker is also, for this one, I'll show you, is Hello Lavender. It's a botanical accent stitch marker. I don't remember what collection. It was an In the Garden collection, maybe, with, yeah, that's what it would have been. It would have been her In the Garden, like, garden collection she did in conjunction with, Woolberry Fiber Company. So I accidentally ordered 2 sets of these, which has worked out in my favor because, they're pretty nice. And I like the simple green. It's fun. So, this is Kelly's Moonglade Tea. And it's on tiny needles right now, so I can't really stretch it out, but let you try to see if you can see the lace on the sleeves. So it's got this really beautiful lace sleeve detailing. It's a twisted rib neckline. If you've seen Kelly, you've seen this sweater, I'm sure. It's beautiful. I had a little bit of trouble until I got to about this point. I kept making mistakes on the lace just because you're breaking it up across this. And so when it's a straight across lace repeat, I feel like it's a lot easier to catch when the stitches aren't lining up quite right early. Whereas if I'd messed up a stitch here, but not over here, because it's just like knit across until you get to the next section. You know, and I think she does say knit however many stitches. It's Kelly. She's usually pretty good about specifying everything, but I would just knit across. And then I know I'm supposed to do a slip, slip, knit. And so, it absolutely, I think, is me error. But Kelly has said herself that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get into your head because it's not a perfect rhythm repeat. Once you get past that and it's just consistent, I've been flying through it. I mean, it's 300 and something stitches right now. So flying through it in the fact that I'm making minimal mistakes now, and I'm having an easier time keeping the lace pattern straight in my head. Each row still is taking a chunk of time, but the color is peaches and cream, and it's blowing out a little bit. It's a super sunny day. I can't really stop the yarn from blowing out. Is that more? That's a little more color accurate. It is Peaches and Cream by Explore Knits and Fibers, from their Summer Ice Cream collection. Yeah, I think it was summer 2022 is when this collection came out. Any hoozles. I don't wear a lot of peach, but this is my mom. I saw this color when Allie was releasing them, and I'm like, that's my mom, 100%. That's her color. And she absolutely, I showed her Kelly's pattern when Kelly came out with it, and my mom was like, oh, I would like one of those. I need one of those. It's comfortable. It's got that just little bit of pretty lace detailing. It's so up her alley. So yeah, so this is for my mom. A couple of my make nines have been for other people because I'm trying to kick my butt in gear with garment knitting. That's kind of the goal of my make nine this year. So yeah, not much to say about it right now. I've got about 30 rows before I split for sleeves. I've been enjoying it. I think it's really fun. It's a really pretty color. I am being terrible, and I'm not alternating skeins right now. I don't like alternating skeins in the yoke. It stresses me out and frustrates me. And with the lace work, I really didn't want to. I know people do helical knitting with lace work sometimes. I haven't looked into that too much, and so I just thought Allie's pretty consistent. And the kind of color shifts are different usually in the yokes than the rest of the body anyways, because you're constantly changing stitch counts. So I'll start alternating once I get into the body of it. But for right now, I'm not. I'm being bad. I'm being naughty. Just, you know, sorry if that horrifies you, but it's what my brain can cope with, and my mom doesn't care. So, final whip that I'm focusing on for this month, because I have more whips than just these three, but I'm not going to drag them out and make you guys sit through them when I am not going to be actively working on them right now. That is not a yarn that I need right now. Okay, I'm doing the Find Your Fade shawl. I am barely into it. Is that the right side? I'm showing you the right side. Yes. I'm doing the Find Your Fade shawl by I want to say it's Andrea Mowry. I'm so bad. I remember Kelly because she's my friend. I'm so bad with knit designers unless I've knit several of their things, so I'm sorry. Again, everything will be linked in the description box. If I can figure out the text thing, it'll be there as well. So yeah, so it's the Find Your Fade shawl. It's a pretty popular one. I like it. It's a nice little garter stitch. And then it just has those big eyelet sections. So I'm excited. The yarn I'm using is Explore Knits and Fibers again. Allie. It's Denali Sock. And this color is Sonder. It is from her Solstice box. Oh my god, two falls ago. So not 2022. She did a Solstice box. I got last year's as well, but this is the previous one. I got the half and half box, so you got 2 tonals and 2 variegated. So mine are all coming because I accidentally grabbed a hold and the scanning thing went crazy when I was doing it. So you don't need to know that. Anywho, so this colorway is, so we've got Even Fall. Even Fall. This one is, and there again, everything's blowing out. It's not the best camera. It's an iPad, and it's sunny, and so got Even Fall, Midwinter, which it's much deeper in person. It's a beautiful, moody, wintry kind of. I think the theme this year was like Return to Light. So kind of just that darkness and moodiness of winter, and then like the winter solstice where you start, like it starts getting lighter again. And so that kind of cyclical seasonal change. The pink that I started with, this was Sonder. And that one is also deeper. And Exordium. So I wanted to keep them all. Oh my god, I'm making a mess. I'll take care of that later. So I wanted to keep them all together. And I don't do stripy. I don't wear too much pink. And I don't often do stripes. There's exceptions to this, of course, but I thought that they would be a really beautiful shawl. And then as you kind of like get that wrapped around, you get to see all of them mixed together. So I landed on the Find Your Fade. I have my pattern marked with where I want to switch out each colorway. So I'm sure I'll have leftovers, especially of this one, since it's the growing thinner part of the shawl. But I'm excited to see that one grow. I'm hoping I can get it done this month. We'll see. I've got all fingering weight focus projects this month. So I like knitting that. I remember when I first started knitting and people were super dismissive of like bulky weight yarn and being like, oh, it's not real knitting. And I'm like, that's really rude. It's not the mainstream, or at least it's not the space of the community that I exist within. I think I tend to be in an area that's not super gatekeepy. It's way more about uplifting each other and you know, recognizing that budget restrictions and like joint restrictions, and like there's reasons that people want to knit with bulky yarn. But anyways, I remember being like, who would knit with fingering weight? Who would do that? I also used to think I'd never knit socks, and they're now one of my favorite projects to kind of have in the background, ongoing, constantly. So, you know, to anybody who's starting out knitting, if you're seeing this, just maybe don't limit yourself. Maybe recognize that like where you are right now, you're not gonna knit something, but you know, never say never. Never say never. Okay, I have a box of things here for my own sake. So, on to acquisition things. I'm not buying a lot of yarn right now. Then this box is gonna look like it's arguing that. I bought this in the spring, so it doesn't count. It's not a recent purchase. It is a recent received. I don't know. So this though is handmade with love. Franny of Franny Dough makes. And oh my god, somebody else. I'm so sorry to everyone whose name and handle I have forgotten today. It's that time of year. It's who I am as a person. It's just, you know. We're running a spring shawl-a-thon. It started April 1st and ran until the end of June. I had to yawn again and got another sip of tea. And the rules were that you had to post to either, I think there was Instagram, I think there was a Ravelry thread. I think it was Fran's Instagram, the other Instagram, and a Ravelry thread, I think, were the 3 places to post. I'm not 100% certain. I only posted to Instagram. But you had to cast on a new shawl. So it couldn't be a whip. It had to be a new cast on after April 1st. You could enter as many as you wanted. You could do whatever you wanted. And it didn't have to be a completed object. It could be a whip when it finished. So if it was still a whip at the end of June, you know, you could just post the picture and put your name put your hat in the ring, as it were. So I did the Broken Wing shawl by Hohi Locatelli in the colorway Wingspan Winner Cassian by Dragonfly yarn from her January yarn club. Which I can actually see it right now. It's beautiful. I've not had a chance to wear it at work yet, which is disappointing, but so that was what I did. It was a great excuse to cast on a new shawl. I hope that they do it again next year, because I'm always looking for an excuse for me to cast on. But I was one of the lucky Instagram winners. It was quite thrilling. I was like, when she announced my name, because I never win anything. Like, since childhood, I never win anything. So, very excited. I got this really pretty project bag. It's beautiful. I don't do a lot of warm tones. I have quite a warm skin tone. So I don't wear a lot of warm tones, but I absolutely love bright warm tones. So I try to have little accessories and things with them. So this is thrilling. The inside is this beautiful, fun little cherry pattern, and it has a pocket on the inside, which is perfect. Who doesn't want more pockets? And the prize was green lambkin yarn. This beautiful skein in a sparkle sock in the color Candy Castle. So it's superwash merino, nylon, and stellina. Let's see. Yeah, you can just see the sparkle in it. And then this little contrast mini. I absolutely love this. Like I said, I don't wear a lot of warm colors, and I don't wear a lot of bright colors. So I had the thought, I'm like, oh, I can make another shawl. I think, though, I'm going to make a pair of really fun socks. I think that's what I'm going to do with it. I don't wear a lot of bright colors, even though I love them. So socks are a really good way for me to get that kind of pop of fun neon into my wardrobe when, like, I'm mostly comfortable in, like, you know, I wear a lot of black, I wear a lot of muted tones, so, but I love, love, love how bright colors look, so I'm going to do some socks with these. I'm very excited for those. Also came with a stitch marker. It's a really pretty little, it's green lambkin yarn as well. And it's this super pretty little butterfly, and it is a claw hook, which I don't use too much, but I love these for shawl knitting, because I'll use this to mark the right side of the shawl, because otherwise I get hopelessly lost. I love lace shawls, and you know, once you're into the pattern you can kind of tell, but it's way easier if you just have a stitch marker, then you can tell at a glance instead of, which is what I usually do. Making that super attractive face, staring closely at my knits. Luckily, only my family usually see it. So, and then there was some tea and hot chocolate. I was really excited. I I said, I'm in Alaska. I have a Master's of Arts in Irish Studies that I got in Belfast from Queen's Uni. And so I have favorite brands from Ireland and Britain that I can't get over here. And I used to love, love, love Clipper tea. So I was super excited to see that. And I'm very excited about the hot chocolate because I have weird allergies and I'm allergic to corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup. Which, if you know anything about American food, you will understand the nightmare process grocery shopping can be for me sometimes. I have to consistently read labels and reread labels in case they've changed the formula. It triggers like just the most awful migraines known to man. Like, I thought my normal migraines were bad. Food allergy migraines are incapacitating. Like, my normal migraines, I can still like get up, I can drive. I'm not happy, but I can function. I can go to work. I can I mean, I prefer to be curled up on the couch, but I can function. Food allergy migraines, I'm on the floor. So yeah, so the UK uses glucose syrup, not corn syrup, so I can drink this without hurting myself. So I'm very excited. Also, your guys is that the chocolate's better than American chocolate. I'm sorry, it's true. I'm excited. I could have just left it at that. Could have just left it at the excited. I'm excited. I could cut out that last bit. Probably won't. You're just getting Mackenzie. This is what I'm just full force me. Cause why not? So rapidly moving on to acquisitions. I have all of this stuff is going to be Witchfire Fibers. She is a dyer in Montana. Jess, she is brilliant. I don't buy from her often because her collections and my budget don't line up. I have stared at several of her collections longingly. But I had to shop this one. So this was her Moss Made Me Cry. Moss Made Me Cry. I don't know the pronunciation. Collection. And if you're on Book Talk at all, if you're on Bookstagram, if you like anything fantasy or romance, I am sure you have heard of Sarah J. Maas. I had heard of her quite a bit. I read a lot of fantasy. I do read romances occasionally. More so now that I'm just reading for my own enjoyment. After I have a BA in English literature. So I did a lot of reading for school. So now I predominantly read for my own enjoyment. Like, my ratings on Goodreads are entirely based on how much I liked a book, how much I enjoyed the process of reading a book. So there's a lot of 4s and 5s on mine, because I'm telling you how much I liked it, not necessarily how good of a quality the book is. But I had been a little bit resistant to reading Sarah J. Maas just because it was so big everywhere, and I have been bit by popular things not being actually good stories, like where the where the hype is just so much more. Like, I like fun, enjoyable reads, but I also, when I'm looking at like a giant series, which, if you know her stuff, it is, there's so many books, there has to be an intricacy to the plot. I like it to be well plotted. I like it to be well written. And so I was just a little bit hesitant because I wasn't sure how the writing would be, to be completely honest. You know, I'm not going to invest 16 books into like paperback romance novels. So I was a little bit hesitant. My friend Kelly of Rowan Cades, just constant shout outs, Kelly. Just constant shout outs. Seriously, go check her out. She's great. She was a really big fan of the books. And so we have some similar reading tastes. So that made me kind of a little bit like, okay, like maybe I might like it. And then Skein and the Stitch, Jess, was coming out with a Sarah J. Maas collection last fall. And I love her colors. And I love how she interprets things. It's very rarely like this color is being seen in the book, and so I recreated an idea based off of that. It's very much, she goes more with like, this is how something made me feel, and so I love seeing how she interprets kind of the vibe of the moment or the vibe of the character into a colorway. So I was kind of like, that was the between Kelly and then Jess's collection. I was like, okay, I've got to read at least some of these books because I want to, Kelly likes them, so I have faith that they're going to be enjoyable. And I want to be able to see what Jess is doing with the characters. So I started with ACOTAR. Anywho, got into it with Jess's stuff. They're now one of my favorite book series. They have beautifully intricate plots. I think fantastic world building, fantastic story building. I don't cry often with books. With movies and TV, like a little bit more. But I'm not a huge crier with books. I'm just not. Mass's books, I think I definitely cried with Throne of Glass, and I cried a couple times, I think, with ACOTAR. I don't remember if I cried at all. I cried thinking about some of the stuff in Crescent City. Like, there's a yarn here that I would tear up every single time. So if you've not read the books and you don't want spoilers, I'm gonna try to not give too many spoilers. But yeah, you could just mute it and look at the pretty yarn colors. So this is finally to the good stuff, the yarn. So again, this is Witchfire Fibers, her Mass Made Me Cry collection. And so it's what I love about it. It's taking a moment or a character and kind of interpreting something around them. And I just think that's so fun to see how Dyers do it. This colorway is The World Needs More Healers. This is from Throne of Glass. And these skeins are, my mom and I both got yarn from this. She does not currently knit. She's thinking of trying to learn continental. She has arthritis in her thumbs. And so she's thinking of trying to learn continental because that'll put a little bit less strain on her hands. Because she loves pretty yarn. She loves handmade things. And so she's like, I just need to learn. So we'll see. But so this is my mom got these skeins. She just absolutely loved these colors, and by the time this collection came out, she was into Throne of Glass a little bit, but she was like, oh my god, I just love those colors. I just love those colors. I love that name. And like, knowing Irene, I knew my mom would love the character, so I'm like, get them, you're gonna love them. So yeah, they've got this. It's this really pretty kind of like cream and just these deeper orange and brown speckles. I think Jess has her kind of explanation behind each colorway inspiration on her Instagram. I think it's just at Witchfire Fibers. Yes. So sorry if that's backwards. It's her Instagram handle is just Witchfire Fibers. Again, I'll put it in the description. So that was that. And I get to my mom, when she doesn't have a project in mind, she mostly gets 2 skeins of DK because I can knit her like some mittens and a hat, or I can do a cowl or a scarf, but there's just a little bit more play if there's 2 skeins of a DK weight. So that's when she doesn't know what she wants with them, what she goes with. So she also got 2 skeins of The Heart of a Dreamer. This is from ACOTAR. It's based on the Suriel, the one character that like I think kind of hit all of us a little harder than we expected. I have a skein of that myself because he is one of my favorite characters, and you can kind of see mine is in classic sport. I'm gonna make myself a Musselburgh with this. Like I said, I'm obsessed. I can't help it. So it's this beautiful, you've got these oranges kind of parts. You can kind of see this like kind of yellowish green. It's beautiful purples, black speckling. It's just, it was one that she hadn't read any ACOTAR at this point. And she was just obsessed. She was obsessed with this color. And I told her, I'm like, get it. I said, get it, because you're going to get to this part in the books and you're going to regret it if you didn't, because she liked it so much. But she's like, well, I don't really know the character, you know. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you're going to hit this part in the books. You're going to hit the crying scene and you're going to regret not having this yarn. And she got to the part and she was like, I am so glad I ordered that. She's like, it's so good. It's so good. It's just so good. And Justice does such a beautiful job. So yeah, the Heart of a Dreamer. I'm going to try to clip along. This is getting much longer than I planned it to be. So sorry for the first episode being just... I'm going to try to do... I'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so then this is Classic Fingering, and this is Mom Hug. This is Crescent City, the third one. House of Flame and Shadow, is that book 3? Is what it's inspired by a moment. This was not an emotional moment for me. You know, everything, we all have different emotional triggers. So this moment wasn't super emotional for me, but I saw this color and this is my mom. This is my mom. It just is. And so that was I had to show it to her. I'm like, this is the most you color. Again, the screen is just blowing everything out, but it's just this wonderful, warm, kind of taupey, a little bit rosy color. It's so good. And I showed it to my mom and she was like, that's Mom Hug. That absolutely, yeah, that's perfect. And she just loved it. So we got 2 skeins in Classic Fingering because I'm going to make a Rococo, I think it's Rococo top by Sari Nordland. So I'm making that. So we're doing mother-daughter top. So mine is going to be in I Am Not Afraid, which if you've read the books, this is also Classic Fingering. It's what Sam tells himself, and then we see it kind of become Aylin's sounding board. And I love that concept of like the people in our lives touch us in emotional ways and deeper ways than we expect, and we kind of carry them forward with us in that strength of self, even if they're not there anymore. So I love that line, and this is just a really pretty kind of tannish gold. So I'm gonna make Rococo. I think it's the Rococo tanks by Sari Nordland with these for my mom and I. So we'll have super cool Sarah J. Maas mother-daughter tank top. Sorry if you can hear the cardboard box. There's so much. We ordered so much. We just kind of went crazy. It was a thing. We lost our minds. Got a skein of Through Love. This is the double sock. So it's superwash merino and nylon, 80/20, 2-ply, which I think, yeah, Classic Fingering superwash merino, Classic Sport superwash merino. I think we mostly have superwash merino. Yeah. I have super sensitive skin. I know the conversation around superwash versus non-superwash and all of that. I like colors to be solid and bold. And there are non-superwash dyers who can absolutely do that. I also have sensitive skin, and so I am more likely to buy superwash merino because I know it's going to be soft enough that I'm not going to be itchy and irritable. When I'll buy tester skeins of non-superwash yarns, but like I'm not going to go out for a whole sweater quantity right off the bat. So this is superwash nylon, and this is Through Love, which is from Crescent City. It's oh my god, it's Bryce and Danica's. My brain was kept saying Dana, and I'm like, that is not correct. Bryce and Danica is kind of sounding board resonant connection space through love, like all things are possible, that concept. Again, super bright, not really my mom or mine color, but I'm making us, I should be able to get 2 pairs of shorties out of this for us, especially if I do contrasting heel toe cuff with a mini or something else. So I'm making my mom and I matching socks out of that one. Pattern as of yet undecided. We also got, this is Double Sock, and this is her summer Surrey. So it's 65 baby Surrey alpaca, 35 silk. These are not going together. This is mine. This is my mom's. We got the sock because I wasn't sure if she'd want sock yarn. This is again another one that she hadn't gotten to this point in the book, but she loved the colorway. And I was like, you're going to like this moment in the book enough. It's probably going to be emotional enough for you that you'll want this. She's obsessed with my broken wing shawl. She absolutely loves. She likes that lighter weight, kind of scarfing that she can wear at work if she gets a little bit chilly. So I've done cows for her. She tried the single skein shawl on and loved it. So I'm going to make her a broken wings shawl. It's this beautiful gray with these kind of like rust colored bits. It's from a moment in the start of, I think, Kingdom of Ash. Yeah, Kingdom of Ash. It's a very emotional moment. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's one that I really don't want to spoil. I don't tell people what happens in the 7th book. My mom and brother both will be like, well, what happens? And I'm like, I'll tell you if they live to the 7th book. Like if they are in the 7th book, I will tell you that. But I think that it's such a beautiful culmination. I'm like, it's disrespectful, in my opinion, to the story itself to spoil what happens in Kingdom of Ash. So I don't talk about that, but that's the book it's from. It's great. It's a very emotional moment. I got it in Surrey. I'm going to hold this together with a gray worsted or decay. I haven't really decided yet. Since I haven't decided, I haven't bought it. So we'll find out at some point. You'll see this again. You'll see all of it again. But yeah, because I kind of like the idea of having these like fluffy, fuzzy, that kind of halo space. I thought that would be fun to see play out. We have Live Manon Live, which is just, I knew that if she chose this scene, I was buying something. I was buying some of the yarn from this scene. I started crying right about this scene, and I don't think stopped for the rest of the book. Like, it was, you know, if you've read Kingdom of Ash, you know. So yeah, so I knew I was going to buy whatever she made, even if I just made socks with it. So I got Classic Sport for this one. I'm probably gonna do a muscle bra. I might try to see if there's a sport weight single skein shawl, but I'm leaning towards muscle bra right now. It's got this lovely kind of soft peaches and like these grays, and you can see it's kind of like yellowish. It's just gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's so soft. I just love it so much. These are for me as well. I'm not putting them together. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with each of them. I got Classic Sport again, and then Summer Surrey again. And this is Lighted Up. I just loved the fuzzy part, and I knew the sport, I could do a couple different things with it. I like sport weight muscle bras more than fingering weight. I have one of each, and I prefer the feel of the sport weight. So I knew that I could do that. I can have a muscle bra, and it's difficult to see, but it just has this faint kind of yellowish, neonish tinge to it. I don't know, it's not a true white. It has this like kind of coloration that implies that it's glowing, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But this is from the first Crescent City book. It's Danica. It's Danica and Bryce's other phrase that they yell back and forth. It's from a scene at the end of the book. Try not to give spoilers. Also, if I talk about it too much, I will cry. But yeah, it's a really great moment. It made me very emotional. I was trying to explain to my family why I wanted this yarn, and I could not stop crying. I don't cry often. I feel like that should be understood. I'm not a big crier. I don't cry very often. Love that lasts through all things is one of the things that gets me. And that's very much a love that carries beyond. Between two friends it got me. And it's just a beautiful color, and yeah. And finally, I'm sure many of you are incredibly grateful for this, but finally we have I've Been Looking for You. So this is Classic Fingering Summer Surrey. I have more than just these two skeins. I have 3 of each. Yeah, 3 of each. But this is way easier to hold than 6 skeins, so this is what you're seeing. So this is from A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it is I think it's the first thing Rhys says to Feyre. And it's such a good line. It's a line that takes on so much more meaning and depth as you read the series and as you kind of understand his character to a greater level. I just love it. It's blowing out a little bit. It's a little bit lighter and warmer on the screen right now than it is in person. And so, like I said, I don't wear a lot of pink. I don't wear a lot of warm tones. From her photos, though, this looked like it was very similar to a shade of lipstick that I do wear, because it is not too red. It's not too coral. It's not too peachy. It's this like warmish kind of berryish tone. It's a really pretty neutralish kind of muted pink. And this looked very similar to that. So I thought I would be able to get away with wearing this against my skin tone. And I think I'm right. I think I'm gonna go with it. So I got this to make a lace cardigan. So I'm gonna hold these together and make myself a soft, pretty lace cardigan. I don't, like I said, I don't wear a lot of dresses. I don't do a lot of like fancy clothing, but I wanted something just really beautiful that I could wear with the dresses and nicer clothing that I do have when I'm going to like a play or I'm going out for like a celebration dinner or something. And so I thought that this would be really pretty. Like I said, I wear a lot of black. I thought this would be really pretty with like a black dress or like a really dark green dress. I think it'll look good against it. So that is the end of acquisitions, and I think that's the end of all yarny stuff. I am sorry for how long this has gone on. If you have no interest in hearing live stuff, feel free to click away now. I will take no offense to it if you've clicked away already. Well, I don't know, and you're not watching this. So if you're interested in live stuff, I'm going to try to keep it really quick, really short. So I just finished up I work, like I said, I work in a library, so we just finished up our summer programming. So I kind of have this month off as a break. I'm also in an online Masters of Library Science program, and I'm in my 8th week of classes for our summer quarter. So that will be wrapping up shortly, and then I have about a 2-week break before moving into the fall. So I'm hoping to have the Crown Shy socks pattern written up before that 2-week break so that I can kind of get the testing underway while I've got that pause. I've got another design, not on needles yet. It's bulky weight though, so I'm kind of thinking of trying to get it on needles and see if I can get it finished before that break so I can get it written up during the break and get it into testing. Because it's a very large, oversized cardigan. that I absolutely love. I made one for myself ages ago. If you're on my Instagram, you'll have maybe seen it. It's my purple, I've been calling it the Sarah cardigan. I made it last winter, 2020, the end of 2022 is when I made it. My mom needed a cardigan, so she borrowed it just to be cozy around the house. Absolutely loved it. So I told her I'd make her one, and I figured as long as I'm making her one, there's a couple construction elements I wanted to change with it to make it a little bit easier to knit, because I did it fully in tarsia and then just knit up the back and then up. And so I didn't write it up as a pattern because I didn't think that everyone was going to want to knit a giant oversized intarsia jumper or cardigan. So there's some design features of how I put it together I want to tweak. So I'm going to try to get that done at the very least by September, I think is my hope, and get that into testing. And I would like to give a 3-month testing period for that one, so it should hopefully be coming out, if I can get everything done, maybe trying to have it out around Christmas. We'll see. Around the beginning of December, just in time to ask for yarn for Christmas. Yeah, so that's the designing portion of life. Library, school, you know, it is what it is. I'm not 100% certain how I'm going to be doing podcasts moving forward. This wrap up has gone way longer than I intended it to, and I'm looking at it. It's an hour and a half on the clock right now, but I know there's some chunks I need to edit out. So I don't know how short I'll be able to get it, which is why I'm trying to talk really fast right now. So I'm thinking of trying to do every 2 weeks, do like a mid-month check-in, and then so I can do a shorter wrap up at the end of the month. That's my current tentative plan. We'll see. You'll see in a couple weeks how that shakes out. Yeah. So I need to finished object photos for some stuff for all of the garments I've made this year. I'm massively behind on things between like weather and schedule, and yeah, I just, we'll see how this goes. It's something I wanted to do for a while and just haven't taken the time or like made myself do it, just getting nervous and shy and awkward about it, and just realizing that like with anything, it is going to be awkward and not exactly how I'm going to develop it at the start, because I'm just starting it. I'm just learning how to do it. I'm just getting it figured out. So it is a little rambly. It is what it is, It is what it is. So hopefully be a little bit more comfortable in the next one. The next one will hopefully be a little bit quicker. Sorry for how incredibly long this one was, and I thank you so much if you stuck with it to the end. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, so just be patient with me, be kind. I'm doing my best. Hopefully with doing it twice a month, I'll have shorter videos each time. I'm hoping to have closer to that 20 to 45 minute range. This is obviously way over that. But I knew that if I didn't get something done and out, it just was never going to happen. So this was kind of just that like initial, like just get it done, just get it published. I'm recording this on Monday the 5th. Is that what today is? Yes, Monday the 5th. I'm hoping to have it up no later than Wednesday. I don't know if I'm going to keep a Wednesday posting. Probably. I don't work on Mondays. Our library is closed, so it's an easy day for me to record on. And then if I do Wednesday publishing, I can have a couple days to edit. So that's the current thought. That's the current plan. We'll see how it pans out. I might publish on Mondays. I could probably edit this really quickly today and get it out. well, you'll know which I decided to do based on when this was uploaded. So yeah, again, sorry for how long this was. Thank you so much for watching to the end, those of you who stayed around, and I hope you all have wonderful weeks, wonderful weekends, lots of time to knit and craft and, you know, beautiful weather, and I'll see you soon. Bye.